Hey, how you doing? Let's have a conversation about how the flow of information impacts an organization's operations. Please join me on this journey of knowledge dissemination. Enjoy the video. Throughout human history, signs have been used to communicate data, information, and knowledge. Semiosis is the process of creating signs and producing meaning. Semiotics is the study of semiosis. Merriam-Webster Dictionary has this useful description of what a sign is. A mark having a conventional meaning and used in place of words or to represent a complex notion. Thus, semiosis is about creating one thing to refer to something else. This concept has existed for over 2,000 years. Its roots began with the founder of Western medical science, Hippocrates. Semiotics began as a branch of medicine to study symptoms. For example, a sore throat could be a symptom or a sign for a cold. But what about non-medical applications of semiotics? Ever heard of Aristotle? He defined signs as having 3 dimensions. 1, the physical part of the sign itself. 2, the referent to which it calls attention. 3, its evocation of a meaning, what the referent entails psychologically and socially. For example, those who watch my videos are considered to be my audience. A vocal sign makes up the sounds of the word audience. My audience refers to a subset of Earth's population. There is meaning to the word audience, and more specifically, the phrase my audience. In addition to Aristotle and Hippocrates, 2 additional individuals must be acknowledged: Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure and the American philosopher Charles S. Peirce. Saussure defined a sign as a form made up of 2 components. 1, the signifier, something physical, sounds, letters, gestures, etc. 2, the signified, the image or concept to which the signifier refers. Saussure proposed that the connection between the signifier and the signified was arbitrary. It was something that humans and or societies could establish at will. By contrast, Peirce structured his definition of a sign using 3 terms. 1, representamen, called the signifier, a form inhering in the physical representation itself, sounds, hand gestures, etc. 2, the object, the referent, an entity displaced from its real-world context of occurrence. 3, interpretant, the meaning that one gets from a sign. Further, Peirce named 3 categories of signs: icon, index, and symbol. An icon is a sign which refers to the object it denotes by virtue of characters it possesses. For example, think of the printer icon in a word processing document. That printer icon looks exactly like a printer, or at least some printers. An index is a sign which would at once lose the character which makes it a sign if its object were removed. You know that saying, where there's smoke, there is fire? Well, smoke is an index, a pointer to the object fire. If you were to remove the fire, eventually the smoke would also be removed. For symbol, there were 2 definitions offered. 1, representamen, whose representative character consists precisely in its being a rule that will determine its interpretant. And 2nd, a sign which refers to the object that it denotes by virtue of a law, usually an association of general ideas, which operates to cause the symbol to be interpreted as referring to that object. So think of the paragraph symbol. The paragraph symbol is most certainly not an icon. It doesn't look anything like a paragraph. It's not an index because it's not really pointing to something. It's a symbol. When you see the paragraph symbol, you know that that line of text is itself a paragraph. Unsurprisingly, the world of semiotics has attracted many other thought leaders. Today, there are various divisions. Here is one illustration that shows some additional concepts within the field of semiotics. This is the semiotic framework. This graph is broken into two themes, human and technology. The human part is about things important to people as they navigate the world. Things such as beliefs, expectations, meanings, negotiations, communications, the aboutness of science. The technology part is important to computers, databases, and systems to process data. So things like the structure of data, the software, things such as the physical dimensions, think of metadata. But wait, there is more, including computer semiotics and organizational semiotics. If this sounds too academic, how about something more tangible? There is an actual thing called marketing semiotics. Ever heard of brand equity? What is the meaning behind certain brands? Marketers who study consumer behavior are experts in producing signs that symbolize a certain message that would compel a particular type of individual to make a purchase. Some companies are really good at managing their marketing semiotics, aka their brand. Think Apple, Costco, and Mercedes. Each of them has a well-defined image and message that appeals to their target audience. In fact, the demographic of the audience could be a sign that indicates potential interest. For example, a person who is a member of the baby boomer generation might be more likely to make a purchase that a person belonging to a different generation might not. Seriously, how many Gen Zers have butterscotch candy in their pockets? See, I rest my case. Up to this point, I have focused largely on the syntax of semiosis. But the great thing about knowledge is that it can be represented via conceptual graphs. Consider this illustration. Remember, knowledge is about the meanings and relationships between concepts. Graphs effectively and efficiently convey such relationships. In order to understand the idea of a cat sitting on a mat, it is necessary to appreciate what is involved. It would be impossible for anyone who does not know what a cat or a mat is to understand the sentence, "A cat sits on a mat." Even further, a person thinking about a cat sitting on a mat would be something not possible. Yes, this is a highly simplistic example. But imagine more complex concepts that are not communicated due to a lack of awareness and/or understanding. Think about the types of barriers to learning that exist every day in organizations. And now think about the problem of knowledge hoarding, knowledge attrition, and a wide array of other challenges. How can an organization expect its workforce to achieve maximum productivity if its workers are left out of crucial concepts vital to operations? To make another point, graphs can be reduced to the lowest common denominator, not to be condescending, but to maximize understanding. For example, using the same model from a minute ago, what if I said a calico enscones oneself upon a floor cloth? It is exactly the same concept as a cat sitting on a mat, but it is more complex. A calico is any type of tri-colored cat. Enscones is a specific action, but a thesaurus might be needed for some to recognize the verb, and a floor cloth is a synonym for a mat. Another instance where verbiage, aka words, matter. Those who understand the simpler syntax may not quite understand the second. So again, access to concepts and expressions of those concepts matter. As we think about how to transfer information, it is useful to appreciate the following characteristics about knowledge. It is never complete. It may reside in multiple forms. It occurs anywhere. It is about connections. Its structures evolve with the incorporation of more information. It is about what is agreed upon. That last point is important. Here is why. Suppose I ask you to identify which 3 objects in this graph are most similar. Could you do it? Well, it depends on from which perspective you are thinking. Are we speaking about the size, shape, or color? This is why communication is vital, even when the signs and expectations appear to be obvious. To conclude, knowledge management not only consists of signs, but it is itself a symbol that signifies how an organization allocates its resources and what it values. The existence of KM symbolizes an environment that is conducive to collaboration and operational transparency. Likewise, the absence of KM could signify that an organization is either unable or unwilling to deeply reconsider the full scope of activities that truly add value. Such an organization, in my opinion, exists on borrowed time and could be the next Blockbuster, JCPenney, or Bed Bath & Beyond. Thank you for watching. I encourage you to participate in this conversation. Comment, subscribe, like, visit my website. I'd love to hear other perspectives because knowledge is for everyone.